there, Ariana from Crafting Happiness here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet the offset hearts pattern. And this is an easy, fun, double-sided pattern to make. And for this tutorial, I've made two samples, one in a single color so you can see the texture. And here the hearts are not very visible. And one in two colors so you can see the actual hearts and how it looks like from both sides. So let's get started. For this tutorial I am using Aran yarn in two colors. I will use pink for the hearts and brown for the background, and a matching hook, which is a 5mm crochet hook. You can use any yarn with a matching hook and of course any color combination. This pattern requires you to have multiples of 6 plus 2 chains in your starting chain. My starting chain has 32, and we will start round 1 by crocheting into the 6th chain from the hook. So we come backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Into this 6th one we are going to make a V-stitch. And now a V-stitch is 2 double crochets separated by a chain. So into that chain make a double crochet, then a chain 1 and then another double crochet, and this is your V-stitch. Now skip 2 chains and into the next make another V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet into the same chain, and this is your repeat section. You skip 2 and make a V-stitch in next. So let me show you again another repeat, skip 2 and V-stitch into the next. Double crochet, chain 1 and then double crochet into the same chains. And now repeat this until you have 2 chains left into your starting chain. Now I have made V-stitches all along my starting chain. I have 2 chains left. We're going to skip 1 and double crochet into the next. And on this pattern we are going to change colors every row, and we will also cut the yarn every row. But the color change will be done a bit differently because we want to create these borders on a side of the hearts. So we will not change yarn right away. We will start round 2. First let me show you how first row looks like. And now we are going to start row 2 by turning and chaining 3, and this counts as a double crochet. And from this point we are going to change colors. So we will cut the yarn and then bring in the pink and pull a loop through the loop on your hook. And this is the point where we change colors. Like I said, we want to have this border around the hearts. All right, so let's continue from this point and make our first heart in this round. We will be working into these V-stitches, so in the chain 1 of the V-stitch, and we start with a double crochet cluster. And a double crochet cluster is made out of 2 incomplete double crochet joined together. So let me show you what I mean. Yarn over, insert your hook into that chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and this is our incomplete double crochet. We will leave it on our hook, yarn over, insert it into the same chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we have 2 incomplete double crochet. Now we are joining them together by yarning over and pulling through all the loops on our hook. Keep pulling these loops close, and this is your double crochet cluster. Next, make a chain 3 and then make another double crochet cluster into the same chain 1 space. And like I said, to make a double crochet cluster, make 2 incomplete double crochet and then join them together. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through the 2 loops on a hook, leave the incomplete double crochet on your hook, yarn over, insert the hook into the same chain space and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, now we have 2, and then we join them together. And this is how it looks like. Next, chain 1 and move into the next V-stitch, and in that V-stitch we are going to make a double crochet cluster, then we chain 3 and another double crochet cluster into the same chain 1 space. And this is your repeat section right here. We chain 1, skip a V-stitch, into the next V-stitch we make a cluster, chain 3, cluster. Now let me show you one more time repeat, and then I'll just jump straight at the end of the row. So the repeat starts with chain 1, skip the next V-stitch, into the next V-stitch, make a double crochet cluster, chain 3, double crochet cluster into the same space, and repeat this section until you have crocheted into the last V-stitch in the row. And this is what we have so far. I have crocheted into the last V-stitch, and we only have one stitch left, which is the chain or the top of chain 3, but now it's time to change the colors again so we can have this border around just like we have it here. So cut the yarn and bring back the brown, pull it through the loop, pull the loop, and then we are going to finish this round row 2 by making a double crochet into the chain at the top. Just insert the hook in there and make a double crochet. And this is your second row. Now we continue with our third row by turning, and we chain 3, this counts as a double crochet, and then we make a V-stitch into the chain 3 spaces. So on this row we will be working in all these chain spaces. So let's make a V-stitch into the chain 3 space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then next we make a V-stitch into the chain 1 space, again double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same space, and we continue like this, creating these V-stitches in every single space until we have crocheted into the last space, which is this one right here, the chain 3. All right, so let me show another repeat. V-stitch in the chain 3 space, then V-stitch into the next chain 1 space, and so on. And I have crocheted now into the last space. Just a note, this space between the chain 3 and double crochet cluster does not count as a space. We only count these chain spaces. So once you reached here, we are going to double crochet at the top of chain 3 right here. So just insert your hook, make a double crochet, insert your hook there, and do your stitch. And this is round 3. Now we are not going to change colors just yet. Like I said, we need to create this border, so we're going to start round 4 by turning and make a chain 3, and this counts as a double crochet. Now we are going to change colors to pink. So cut the yarn again and then bring the pink, pull it through, and we can continue. And you will have quite a few ends, but when you work on a blanket, it's really worth having to weave them in. You can also crochet over them if you create a border. Right, so let's continue with our row 4, and we are going to make a double crochet cluster into the very first stitch right here. So let's make 1 double crochet cluster, and then we are going to chain 1. Then we are going to skip the next V-stitch and make one of these double crochet clusters into the next. And this is how we offset the pattern. We are going to crochet in between these little hearts, make another heart. So skip the next V-stitch and into the next make a double crochet cluster, then chain 3, and another double crochet cluster into the same space. And this is your repeat section again, just like the previous heart round. Chain 1, skip the V-stitch, then into the next V-stitch make a double crochet cluster, chain 3, double crochet cluster, and you continue like this until you have crocheted into the this V-stitch right here, not in the last one but the one before it. So let me show you another repeat, and then I'll just jump straight at the end of the row. Like I said, it starts with a chain 1, skip the next V-stitch, and then into the next V-stitch make a double crochet cluster, chain 3, and then double crochet cluster. And just repeat this, like I said, until you have 1 V-stitch left. Don't crochet in that last one. And now I've crocheted all the way to the end. We have 1 V-stitch left. Let's continue and finish this 4th row by chaining 1, skipping this V-stitch, and at the top of the chain 3 that counted as a double crochet, we are going to make a double crochet cluster. So insert your hook in that top chain and make your cluster. And here we are changing yarn again. So cut the pink and bring the brown, pull a loop through, tighten up the loop, the pink loop, and then to finish this row we are making a double crochet into the same chain that we made the cluster. And that's what we have. This is our 4th row. Now we continue with 5th and final row, and then I'll tell you which one are the repeat rows. We turn and then chain 3, and we will make V-stitches in every chain space. So we skip all these stitches and we move into the next chain 1 space, and we make a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Skip the stitches, move into the next chain space and make a V-stitch again, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same space, and so on until you have crocheted into the last chain space. And I will just jump at the end, but I want to tell you again, this space between the double crochet and the cluster is not a space. your last space will be this chain 1 here. And I have crocheted into the last space. This is what we have so far. And to end this row, we are going to make a double crochet into the last stitch, which is this top chain of chain 3. So make your double crochet and end your row. And this is how it looks like. You can see now the little hearts. From this point on, repeat the last 4 rows. So from this pink row, row 2, 3, 4 and 5, repeat this until you have your desired length to your project. And this is the finished sample. I've made a few more rows and weaved in the ends. You can see now the hearts on both sides. And yes, this is how you crochet the offset heart pattern. And I hope you found the tutorial easy to follow. If you have any questions about this pattern, please put it in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Happy crocheting!